Welcome, everybody, to the Fall Forum. This is episode number 3. I'm Phil Mershon. I'm your host for this series, and I'm excited to be with my friend, Dennis Yu, and we are friends. We have shared meals together. I've slept in his house, but he is also a search engineer by training. He was one of the originals at Yahoo 20 years ago. He has served people like Nike and Red Bull and the Golden State Warriors, but also lots of local people like plumbers and churches. And so, Dennis, I know you got a huge heart for the church and you want to help churches be found online and raise up digital missionaries. So thank you for joining me in this conversation today. Let's dig into it. How are you today?
Good, Phil. And thank you for Tithely for sponsoring this. And I look forward to seeing everybody at the Modern Church Leader Workshop in Dallas. Today, if you're watching this on the replay or live, I want to give you the exact checklist that we have used for lots of different companies and organizations. And I can show you examples of other churches that have done this. And I want to demystify SEO. So I'm going to share my screen. There's nothing to sell. There's nothing to download. There's no email you need to give me. I want you to scan this QR code here. And we're constantly improving this. So if you come back at this every few weeks, you're going to see that we're adding to it. And here's the thing about SEO. Let's go look at this six. I know this thing's like 150 pages. So if you're short on melatonin, just you can use this. But I want to go through a few key diagrams. And Phil and I have gone through this before as part of our training. Let me make this bigger. All right. Oops. No, that's not bigger. That's the other way. Can you see this, Phil?
I can. That's better though.
Okay. So SEO, meaning showing up in Google, which is including YouTube and maps, and people say services, or I'm new to town, or what kind of, family ministries do you have, or whatnot, or depression, all the different things that people are looking because they have a Jesus-sized hole in their heart. Is the result showing up in Google, in Google News and social media, all these different areas which are part of Google, not just the 10 blue links, is the result of doing these 6 things, basically the 4 things in the middle. Okay. Like losing weight is not an activity. You can eat well, you can exercise, you can take supplements. Those are all things that you do. And the result is you lose weight. So when you produce content, when you stream your services, when you use Tithely for your website platform and you repurpose that to social media, and that generates signals. When you have first-time visitors and maybe they leave a review or they take a pamphlet, or when there's activities, the result of those activities is you rank in Google, right, Phil? That's the main thing I want to get across, because SEO is not an activity. You see what I'm saying? SEO is the result of showing that you do something in San Diego, frequently, not this one, which is the one I have. I've got so many sites that are open, right? Any of these churches, right? We want to see there's evidence here that you are a church in SD and you're a Pentecostal, or you believe in speaking in tongues, or you have a young adults Bible study, or we want to see we want to see Google me as a search engine engineer. I want to see evidence that you were doing these things. And Phil, did you see the Google lawsuit with the Department of Justice? So Apple sued Google, and Google had to reveal how their whole algorithm works. Do you remember that from like 6 months ago?
I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
Here's the thing that we all knew, but shocked most people that do SEO for a living. Google is using Chrome clickstream data to determine what shows up in Google searches. So if you, for example, are running ads on Facebook, or you're just organically posting things on Twitter or whatnot, that is like, here, I posted this 19 minutes ago, right? Hey, join me and Phil right now, right? And we're going to talk about this. So when there's activity here, this influences Google. Google can see a lot of this. When it goes to, let's say, a YouTube channel. So I looked at some of these. I love looking at. I had no idea that this is not like a promotion or whatever. I didn't know that Tithely websites were $19 a month. I was looking at these sites, and I just, for example, if you look at a website, and this is the geek in me coming out, and you do a site colon, you're saying, Google, how many web pages do you have for this site? And what are the most important ones? Well, there's the homepage. You don't have to look at all these numbers. These are SEO, whatever, search analytics numbers. The locations they have, give, of course, log in. And then you start to see things like resources, right? Look, Bible study, or maybe the past sermons, or, these different things. Look, this sends people to a PDF, or it sends people to a YouTube. This isn't a, you want to send people to where, from a Google standpoint, where there's a clear, well, A, it's a great user experience, and B, Google can see that there's activity, right? So if you send them to the YouTube, like this one here, which came from, I'm bouncing back and forth between a bunch of Tithely websites, right? So this one's doingreallife.com. And it has nothing to do with whether Tithely is a great platform. I think it's a great platform. I think you guys aren't using the platform properly, okay? So you have these links, right? Hey, click on the date for the sermons, or click here to go to the YouTube page. Let me ask you, Phil, you're not a search engine engineer. Do you think this gives Google enough information?
I don't think so.
Because, like, why would I click on April 10th versus March 27th? I don't even know what the topic is about, right?
I would have to know in advance, or someone has told me what happened on that day, why I would click on it. So
Yeah.
I'm already an insider.
Yeah.
That's not
Like,
who Google's probably trying to serve, right?
so I've been going through Revelation, looking at pre-trib rapture and all kinds of things. And that's a deep rabbit hole. But if one of these was a topic along those lines, I would probably click on it and watch the video, right? So if I click on this one, for example, and it brings me to YouTube, and this doesn't even tell me what it is. It says real life encounter, January 23rd. This doesn't even tell me like what it's about either, right? So would you call this, Phil, like a social media issue or an SEO issue, or what do you call that?
It's probably a communications issue at first, like
So
fundamentally letting people know what it is that you have to offer. And that's sending
yeah,
signals both on social and to Google. Here's what it is. People looking
exactly.
for that topic, show them this video, show them
So
this website.
if you literally say this one is about, how to have a deeper prayer life, right? How to talk to God in 5 minutes. Like you wrote a book on that and done some courses on that. Then that would be interesting. Put that on Facebook, on YouTube, put it on the site. And when there's traffic, because you promote it through your newsletter, there's all different ways of, promoting. Then Google can see that people are watching the YouTube video. And not to, hammer these guys, but this video has like no views, right? No comments, no engagement, right? This is not good, right? So it's not an issue with, it's if we switch to Tithely as our website platform, that doesn't solve the issue. If we hire a social media consultant, it doesn't solve the issue. If we film everything in 4K on Red cameras, will that be better? Well, sure. But it goes back to a fundamental strategy issue where you see here, there's church constipation, if you will. So here in this produce, so there's activity that's occurring. There you have missionaries, you have leaders, you have ushers, volunteers, you have the executive pastor, you have all these people doing different things, right? And that results in some kind of signal. Content being generated doesn't have to be the leadership team, could be anybody, right? Could be people that are doing, the child care during the main service. So there's proof that the church is involved in the community. Even there are people in the parking lot. There's, it's hot outside. It's 120 degrees in Las Vegas. There's things that are happening, right? There's people that are checking in on Instagram. So when activity is occurring and it's being captured, then it can be processed using AI tools. And we'll do some in a second to show you how easy it is. This is why I want young adults to follow this recipe. Us as like adults or whatnot can demonstrate it and learn the first time, but then we just quickly let the young adults do it as part of an ongoing process and function. Then it gets posted to multiple channels because wherever people are hanging out, some people want to hang out on Twitter or YouTube. Then they, the missionaries need to be wherever our people are. So if it lives in all these places, and then in this orange box, we promote it. So then people engage on it. The result of that is that we rank in Google. So more people are checking in and leaving reviews and taking photos and whatnot on Google Maps. Well, we're going to rank better in Google Maps, right? More people are talking about divorce, for example, right? And maybe there's a workshop on divorce, a 6-week thing, whatever it might be. Then you're going to rank better on, people in your city, because people are typing in church near me and they're dealing with an issue, right? Maybe it's money. Like there's all kinds of issues that people are dealing with. Then if Google can see that you are doing things in your city, then you will rank on those. If there's signal, it's literally as easy as showing the signal. So we have this thing called knowledge panel, which is Google inventories everything that it knows about and sticks them into this framework called a knowledge graph. And the different pieces of the knowledge graph are a knowledge panel, right? So, Phil, do you have a church you want to look at? We can just pull it up just to show, or we can do a knowledge panel on any pastor or any person, for example.
We might as well call out my own local church here because we need all the help we can get. So it's called Redeemer Church Wichita.
Redeemer Church.
I don't think we're using a Tithely website, but that doesn't matter.
It has nothing to do. A lot of people think it's, I can't even spell Wichita. Wichita. There. Okay. So notice I've not even pressed enter, and the type ahead search results are already suggesting. Did you know there are these many Redeemer churches?
I did not. And let me change glasses here so I can read that fine print because I don't know if ours is even one of those.
Well, there's two in Wichita.
Redeemer's Grace Church is not us.
Okay, this Redeemer Church in Wichita Falls?
Nope, that's Texas. So we're not even listed there as one of the ones coming up, which I figured is part of our problem. So I think it's Redeemer. What is
this has nothing to do with like how strong you are as a Christian, or this is just technical things that you just need to fix, right? So now I do a search, and there's a lot of these Redeemers. Are any of these ones yours?
It's going to be redeemerict.church is the website.
Okay, so you got to be found. I
believe that's it.
The great
I'm looking
commission. Let's see. All right, we're just going to church or cheat.
That's not
did you say Redeemer? What was it? The URL?
Church. I don't have the right URL, so I'm going to get to it. Maybe let's go to a different church.
No, we're almost there.
All right.
Okay,
we'll find it. This is part of our problem. We're a new church. We are a church plant. So
Redeemer Church, Wichita.church. This one.
That's the one.
Okay. Okay. Now, I can already tell this site suffers from the most common, or not even just site, like digital presence, suffers from the same stuff all you guys are suffering from. And I don't mean to offend or embarrass anybody, okay? But just follow me, right? This is not hard. So I use a bunch of tools. We have training on how to use the tools. Don't worry about how to use the tools. Right now, you rank on 15 keywords. Much to 22 because the toolbar only shows. So Redeemer Church, Wichita, Kansas. You are showing up. Site links, knowledge panel, which is good. People also ask video preview, thumbnail, image pack. But outside of that, there's not much. Is Morgan Burns your lead pastor?
He is one of the lead pastors.
Okay.
And then he has more of an online celebrity status, so he probably would be found more frequently.
Okay. And people are searching. There's 150 people a month searching for Morgan Burns. So that, if I do a search for Morgan Burns, and by the way, you should do this for all of your leadership team.
Yep.
There's 150 people, but most of them are this Morgan Burns.
Well, that's the same one. He's famous because he.
Oh, shoot. He is. Okay, fantastic. Well, he is famous then. All right, great.
Yeah, he actually is an NFL
football player. This is a knowledge panel. You see this thing on the right side here, right?
Yep.
Doesn't have a full knowledge panel. Let's see if we claim. He hasn't claimed his knowledge panel.
Probably doesn't even know he should.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even know. Most pastors, they don't. So why is it important to click on this blue button and then go through Google's whole thing to verify Morgan Burns and the other pastors? Why should we do that? It only takes 10 minutes, 5 minutes,
It
right?
makes it more likely that Google serves up the right information when someone searches for that, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
So if you're not happy about your search results or how much traffic you're getting from Google, it's your fault for not training Google to understand who you are. So, you know how a lot of people they want to be verified on TikTok and Instagram and whatever it is? Why don't you get verified on Google, right? Don't you think it's more valuable to be verified on Google? And it costs nothing. They're not charging you, right? So, we have Morgan Burns, 31, Wichita. Okay, fantastic. So you click on the triple dots, claim this knowledge panel, follow the steps that are in this guide that we put together, right? I'm not going to repeat everything in here. I just want us as leaders to understand the overall piece here. And you could do the same thing for the church, right? Click on the triple dots, go share or claim the knowledge panel. And then what we're doing is we're training Google. We're not trying to trick Google. I don't like to say the word SEO because SEO implies that we're trying to trick Google, right? I worked at the search engine. My job was to protect the search results from people trying to trick us. I'm very sensitive to like trying to be tricked, right? Oh, I'll get you number one for what? No, right? Just tell me who you actually are. I'm the search engine. Tell me who the pastors are. Tell me when your services are. Tell me that you have repurposed, last Sunday morning's 9 a.m. sermon into a blog post and you put it on Twitter and YouTube and you've linked it together. And there's something called schema, which is kind of the structure of how you organize the content and say like on a particular website, like this is an event, this is our fall festival, right? That's a schema item, and here's where it is. It's tied to the schema object of the church, and here's other details, and it's $10, and like this information. We're just trying to train Google. So this is cool. Multiracial church near me. You can almost feel the pain of this person, right? Doing the search, right?
Right. And it's
10
something that
people.
our church tries to stand out for, but
There's
obviously
10
there's not
people a
a lot of
month,
light.
and you're in position 86. So you're getting no traffic out of these 10. Out of these 10, you should get a few of them, right? There's not a lot of competition. But you see this green, there's lots of tools we're using, so we don't get hung up on any particular tool. But this keyword difficulty, these are all like zeros and very low. They're green. And I bet you for all you guys, any keyword you want to rank on, church near me, how do you become Christian? Jesus tempted in the wilderness. Okay, that's a little bit more difficult. But these are so easy to rank on, right? But
So
there's no content you're not training Google on who you are. It's that simple. It's not a tool issue. It's not do we like the rock and roll and the worship? And no, it's not that. Those are great too for other reasons, but from a Google standpoint, you're not telling Google who you are, right?
quick interjection here. Eric asked this question. He said the Google Doc that was in that QR code doesn't seem to have all the content you're showing us right now. Is that something that's being updated regularly?
It should. I mean, Eric, let me know. Do you not have this 150 some page thing? Should be in
Let me
here.
let me
Everything we're talking about should be in here. But I know we're updating it for the MCL conference.
The other
And
question I wanted to ask you, so let's look back at that list of things that, Redeemer Church could rank for that
yeah.
you were showing us just a minute ago. How does one go about doing it? So let's say this is
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Search
So,
Anywhere, and you picked one of these keywords
yep.
I want to rank for,
Okay.
and we're showing in position 74 on Redeemer's
Uh-huh.
Church, which isn't very good, even though
Yeah.
the opportunity is huge. Maybe that's
Uh-huh.
not the best one, but how would you go about doing it?
Well, let's see here. So here you've got different versions of Redeemer's Church, Redeemer Church. People can't spell, especially because 80% of the traffic's on mobile. So you can see here, there's 4 SERP features. Now remember, when you Google something, there's not just like 10 blue links. They could show you videos or news or people also ask or whatever, right? There's a mix of things that show up. So there's many places we can win, right? And it's not like it's difficult to win. Keyword difficulty 4. You could buy that click for $1.55. Nothing wrong with protecting your name. Google makes money off that, of course. So anything you want to rank on, So here, this keyword, then there's a target URL that is competing for that term. In this case, it's your home page. So let's look at the power of that site or of any page. And by the way, if any of you guys want us to just run your stats for you because you don't want to pay $2,000 a month for these tools or whatever, we'll just do it for you. Okay. Just send a note to stephanie@blitzmetrics.com and just say, hey, run our SEO stats or what. We'll just do it for you. So here, there's now people who do SEO for a living will try to, like, they obsess about like one metric or another. And like all these metrics are just sort of diagnostic metrics. So for example, the site's got an overall domain rating of 0.9, like not even 1. It's very low. It should be like 20 or 30 if you're a local church. If you have many locations, maybe a 40 or 50. If you also sell or have like a stronger online presence with courses and whatever, maybe a 50 or 60, right? If you're Hillsong, maybe like an 80, right? So this is a measure of kind of how much power and trust you have. People call it like link juice, like how much juice have you collected? And this juice comes from other people that have linked to you, right? So check this out. This is like, in hindsight, this is so obvious. So remember, like social media is a voting game, search is a voting game, everything's a voting game. Like when someone clicks like, when someone watches your video, when someone follows you, like all of these, when someone leaves a review, these are all just signals that carry a certain amount of points, right?
Okay.
This is search or social, this is online, this is like, and because the algorithm, Google's algorithm, TikTok's algorithm, YouTube, whatever, is trying to figure out who you are based on these votes. So it looks like Prime Boost SEO, maybe that's a place that people buy SEO services or links. Digital marketing services. Okay, so this is a digital marketing agency selling SEO packages, and they are selling SEO to Redeemer Wichita. By the way, never pay for SEO, ever. I'm a search engine engineer. I'm telling you, never pay. Never. I don't care how good of a Christian they are or how they were referred by someone. Like, don't do it, okay? It's just a disaster. Increased domain rating. Oh, boy. Someone here has bought SEO services. Can you see this, Phil?
Yeah. So
Backlink
someone at the church
checker.
actually
Okay.
did. Is that what it looks like?
Citations needed. Uplink SEO services. Is someone is linking to, you see, these are all the votes. Think about this. If you're Google and you're trying to determine who Redeemer Church is, it used to work up until about a year ago, 9 months ago, that you could just go out and buy garbage links from this uplink SEO improvement.za, whatever. These are the links that you have. Okay. You used to be able to just buy a bunch of links from these high domain rating sites, 47, 37, like usually 50 plus is pretty high, right? You just go out there, go to Fiverr, buy these links. I won't show you how because it's garbage. Don't do it. And then you would just rank. In fact, you could do that for any kind of business just about. And it would work until Google got smart about it and said, don't do that anymore, which is the helpful content update and the EEAT changing to EEAT, like all these different things that people have squabbled about and the SEO people have lost their minds over. Okay. And if you haven't heard about it, good, because that's a whole mess. So let me ask you this. If you are a Christian church in Wichita, Phil, and you want to get more visitors on Sunday because you're a multiracial church, because of Morgan, because of all that, wouldn't you think that Google would be looking for signals that you are in Wichita, Kansas, and that you are a church, right?
Absolutely.
That's what we call the GeoGrid. And we've done this for thousands of organizations. Like, you remember you came to one of our workshops, and I think you had Ashley Furniture. You met some of the folks there.
Yes.
Or met some of the folks at other places that have a lot of locations, big brands. A lot of people, Golden State Warriors, that doesn't apply to me because or whoever, you did it for, Quiznos or Domino's Pizza, and they have more money than the local church, but they're also trying to do it for more locations in a
Right.
way more, like the keyword difficulty is all like 85, 90 plus. You want to rank on pizza? Yeah, good luck. That's difficult, right? But you need to show this geo category, which is in this guide. Geo, page 77. Okay, let's go there. Can I go to 77? Drag this thing down to 77. Some people, usually like physicians and attorneys, will actually read this whole thing, believe it or not, which I love. All right. So you see, if you are a church in Tampa or in Wichita, you need to show, you see how it's kind of ironic. There's a cross here, right? But the vertical piece here is if you are affiliated with other churches, like often, right, the head pastor will go on vacation for a couple of weeks and have a guest lecturer, right? Or you have people come in and speak, or you partner with other churches, or you meet other churches at conferences, right? Like at MCL. Well, that's a great opportunity when you meet someone to make a 1-minute video interviewing them. You turn it into a blog post, a guest blog post on their church blog that links to you. Now you're getting links from all these other churches. And I know a lot of churches think that they're competing against other churches in Wichita, that they're not, right? So you need to show Google that you have signal strength and you're reputable. So if you have links from other churches that are legit links, not this paid garbage that we see on this other one, right? That's showing real trust and authority, right? From other churches. Then if you are in this case, Tampa, and you've done a food drive with, some Italian restaurant in Tampa, then you want to get a link from that Tampa restaurant where you take pictures and you show, kind of what happened. You make a blog post on that restaurant site or the golf course or whoever, right? Or this guy's a football player, like, he has a personal blog. Those are all links that can come in that show the signal that you're in Tampa, right? Or you talk about the Tampa, whatever the football team is, not Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's another Tampa,
Buccaneers.
but
That's
right.
the
All the things that are in Wichita, right?
right.
So you need to show the signal of church. So anyone else who's related, they're talking about, I was with, on vacation, I was with this other pastor and we talked about this and that. And great. Now you're showing a signal of trust that it's the church one. And then anything to do in the city shows that geo route. So you're looking at the intersection. You're building links two ways. One is to establish that you're a church, and two is to establish that you're in the city, right? So you could be a church in Boston. So you need to talk about Boston things and your favorite things to do in Boston and, other Boston organizations that you do stuff with. But then you need to network with other churches. But you see how there's two axes that you need to build links from?
Would you say one of those is internally driven, like content we're creating that identifies that we're a church, and then others that are asking basically for other content to backlink to us? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. So internally driven means that you as a church are producing content. You've
Yes.
got a few sermons per week. You have different events. There's things the church is producing, but the thing that's more valuable than what the church is saying, because Google doesn't trust whoever is saying it because they assume that you're trying to manipulate. That's just how it is. It's been this way for 30-something years. It's the signals of users, of visitors, of people engaging on your YouTube videos. Of course, they take that stuff into context, right? So if there's, and I'm not saying go buy a bunch of fake subscribers or whatever it is, but if there's real signal and activity that then shows up on other people's sites, that creates a link here that we see here. So there are 16 links to your Redeemer Church, and I think all of them are garbage. In fact, they're
No, there's a
worse
couple
than
that are good.
these
The
will
one
hurt you. In
from
fact, paying for SEO services will hurt you because then you got to go back to Google and you have to file a disavow report saying, "Oh, please, we didn't know any better. We didn't mean to buy links. It was someone else who did it." Or you make some excuses saying, "Oh, I'll never do it again. I promise. You caught me." Right?
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just don't do that, okay? And these SEO experts will go on and on about how they can trick Google and their method works, and I'm not saying they're lying, but what they're saying is not true. Provably, look, zeros on all of these over here.
Yeah.
These pages rank on nothing, and they have no traffic. They're all zeros. Phil, do you think, you're not a search engine engineer, but do you think that if you got a bunch of zeros that are voting for you, that's going to help you?
No, it's going to bring your average down, right?
It's going to hurt you because now you're revealing that you're trying to cheat. You're willing to do anything, right? And Google doesn't respect whether you're a Christian or a Jew or whatever. Google just their algorithm says, "Oh, looks like these people are trying to cheat. penalty. And
Yeah.
then people claim, oh, you have to run ads and it's not fair. And like, no, just stop doing these dumb things, right?
Yeah.
This is where people get offended. Well, I hired this SEO company and they promised me all these things. And like, look, I'm just telling you. Oh, the website looks beautiful, right? Looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah. But the
Awesome,
back
right?
end's not doing anything, huh?
Yeah, but there's no traffic. There's no pixels here for tracking. There's no Google Analytics there. If you want to rank on Google, don't you think might be a good idea to put in Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Google Search Console, Google Ads even for $1 a day? Don't you think? There's no tags here. This site, I'm using a bunch of different tools, so we don't have time to go through all the tools. But okay, this site's using Google Apps, and it doesn't appear to be on any kind of, what platform is this on? There's like nothing on this thing. Okay, well, while we're at it, might as well
The
just do this.
pastors are going to love me for showcasing us, but that's all
I
right.
apologize in
Yeah,
advance.
we'll get better.
Okay, so there's almost nothing here. Okay, great. You have these sermons, right? Of course. But when we look at these sermons, all right, good. Gospel of Matthew, awesome. So we click on that. There's no picture. Episode description. John preaches on Jesus beginning his ministry. All right, well, what else?
And those are
How much
old,
is there
I
for
can
Google
tell
to
you
go
right
off
now.
of, right?
Yeah.
Here's what you do, okay? So let's go to your YouTube, which doesn't even work. None of these links in the bottom. I'm trying to click on these things in the bottom, okay? But what you do, okay, so these guys, they have something, real life encounter, whatever this is, right? 26 minutes of stuff, right? They're talking about something here, right? Let's say this is great. Let's see. If not, I could run it through another tool, but YouTube transcript.com. This is a free tool. People get obsessed about tools. Don't worry about tools. There's lots of them to do all these different things. Okay. This isn't working right now. But what I would do is, actually, I could do another way. So let's say this is a great sermon, right? And then here's a transcript. See this? And now I'm going to go to ChatGPT and say the paid version for $20 is better, okay? Please summarize this sermon into a blog post for our church website. This is why the young adults are better at this sort of thing, okay? Anyone could do it though. Okay, so I pasted the thing in and I grabbed the transcript here, right? And now the AI is going through this whole thing. I didn't have to watch 26 minutes or whatever it is, right? Here it is, right? Now it's written this whole thing. Now everyone's talking about AI this and AI that, right? This is a correct use of AI. You know what the bad use of AI is? Where people get in trouble for using it. AI is good and bad depending on how you use it. You know why this is a good use of AI?
Because you already said it. So they're just
Because
summarizing
it's
what you
real.
already said.
Because
Yeah.
someone already said it. It's not like, give me 10 verses on whatever. Yeah, well, the AI can write all that, but it didn't start from something real. So if you look back at the 6-phase process here, where's this little slider thing? What we want to start is from that purple box, and the second thing here, the real content. So there's speaking and sermons and activity, like all this stuff can be processed by ChatGPT and whatever your favorite AI is. People like to say, oh, Anthropic is better. I like Gemini. Oh, good for you. Use whichever one you want, right? But you take real signals and you repurpose them, meaning you have the AI work on. This is where the young adults come in and they use the tool. There's tools at each of these stages, right? So then it can turn into a YouTube and a blog post and whatever. So how easy is it to take any web page, going back to your original question, Phil, you want to rank on any particular thing, like Bible reading plan. Oh, I want to read the Bible in a year, right? Whatever it is. Great. Then let's look at any of these URLs. Like, okay, here's a URL, right? Any web page. Gospel of Matthew. Oh, there's like nothing here, right? How easy is it to enhance this? Oh, you have a Spotify. Okay, great. Stick the words into AI and say, okay, write a more fuller description, right? And then remember, we're always trying to show that we're a church in Wichita, right? So say, hey, AI, this is great. There's a sermon on Matthew 1. but then also inject little pieces talking about Wichita. And, this sermon's by so-and-so, and it was in Wichita. And, so like, just try to make it so it's very clear you're not trying to compete against anyone else who's talking about Matthew 1, right? And then maybe in the sermon, I love pastors who they love to weave in stories and current events and things that are happening in their community, right?
Right.
Because instead of just, because there's cheat books where, you have sermons that are pre-canned, but you're saying, yeah, yesterday I was at the Costco in Wichita and this thing happened. Like that's injecting geosignals, because we're trying to rank as a church in Wichita, right? We're trying to show that geosignal. So any web page that you want, Jesus begins his ministry. Okay, great. Then do you see how easy it is? Like, how much effort do you think it would be, Phil? This is not theoretical. To
Oh, no,
take
it's easy.
this, run it to the AI and saying, now tune it to Wichita, since it's a Wichita. Actually, this one, the one I put in wasn't Wichita, but
But let's pretend that it is.
pretend it is. Yeah, since we want to bring in more of our local community. Okay, and I think there's probably other Wichitas, so I'll just say Wichita, Kansas.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Now, if your pastor or you have a set of pastors are known by Google and have a knowledge panel, whatnot, then the AI already can pull that information, right?
Hmm.
But if not, then it's not there. So the way you tell is you take any pastor. I'm not a pastor, but let's just pretend, I was, and there was a full knowledge panel. Now I'm using these different SEO tools. So I'll go over to Safari and do the same thing. Oops. New window, just to show you without all this other stuff. Okay. So this is a full knowledge panel, and you want to make sure all of your pastors get this. We built a little tool. It's free. Just use this. It's blissmetrics.com/knowledge graph explorer. And then you put in someone's name. Oh, it wants to put in my credit card information. Google this is where AI has limits. Okay. But, put in Phil Mershon, right? And there are 3 Phil Mershons. Well, Google's confused about Phil Mershon, right?
There happen
Not
to be
really sure.
5
I
in the
mean,
world. But
you have other people with the same name, but none of them have a high confidence score, meaning there's very little information about them, right? And I get it. Like you might have the same name as a football player or whatnot, right? But this is actually you. Social Media Examiner, Unforgettable Experiences, right? This is you.
yep.
And there's a knowledge panel. Come in and claim it. For some reason, I think you claimed 1 or 2, but once you claim 1, you have to merge the knowledge panel, so it's clear that eventually you get them all together. Because remember, Google's confused about who you are, because I bet you that the bio of your pastors are on the about page of the church. Every person is a separate object from a church, from the local Chili's. Like those are all things, right? Nouns. And every one of those has to have its own separate web page, ideally its own website. So every person needs to have a website. So Google understands this is who Phil, because when I think about Phil Mershon is more than the Tithely podcast guest host guy, right?
Right.
Phil Mershon was also a worship leader, plays the saxophone, is good friends with Michael Stelzner, does stuff with Social Media Exam. Like when I think of Phil Mershon, there's lots of things about Phil Mershon, right? You care deeply for your family. You've gone through lots of experiences, right?
Yes.
So you as an entity, Phil Mershon, think of it as like a molecule that is connected. We're all, when 2 or more gather in our name, all of us are these molecules, and we're all connected to each other. Does that kind of make sense? Like we're connected to maybe, I'm the pastor of a church, or I'm the youth worship leader, or I coach the soccer team, or like those are all connections. And what we're trying to do is reveal those connections, right?
Gotcha.
Then if I have a philmershon.com, and by the way, if someone else has your name, that's fine. Just do philmershon.co or .net. It doesn't matter. Okay. Just philmershon. Whatever. Okay. Then that needs to be connected to, look, your Instagram and your YouTube and your Facebook and your Twitter, like all those things need to be connected back to show this is Phil Mershon. This is Redeemer Church, right? But when you have this issue where we're on Redeemer Church Wichita, and then here these links don't work, you're confusing Google, because Google's thinking like, oh, okay, down here is where they're connecting all their social media. So all the ones for Redeemer Church should be the ones pointing here. But it's a broken connection, right?
Mm.
So you see how it's not a technology issue or let's hire a consultant issue. It's a you have not structured your information correctly issue, right? And that's the
Yeah.
whole point of this thing here, this content for this 6-phase process. You go through every one of these steps here.
Let me ask you a couple of just fundamental questions. And by the way, folks, if you're listening all the way this far in, Dennis is going to be doing a full workshop at Modern Church Leader where he walks through this and helps you think about it for your church. Get that download. By the way, I believe our friend here, Eric, said that the stages of the content factory, that overview figure doesn't have any text in it in the version that he's getting. So maybe something, Eric, if you want to send an email in the chat here, we can maybe make sure you get that after the fact. That'll get
Or
up.
just, let me just paste in the actual document. You can just hit that. Yeah, I put it into not into the chat. I put it into your text. Let's see. Here's the chat. No, this is the studio. This is okay.
You
But
can
you can
just
just request the
privately.
document directly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to show up to them.
Okay.
If I get that
But
into the
the main
comment.
point, I mean, just send a note to Stephanie@blitzmetrics.com or comment on Facebook or what. I just want everyone to have this. So A, you understand, and then B, you can deputize some volunteer to just do all of this. And we have associated training and videos. People like me that are over 40 prefer reading these guides, but we have videos on how to do all of this. And it's not hard. It
So
is a
go
little
back.
confusing at first because there's lots of things to fix, right? And you have to prioritize which
Absolutely.
things to fix. But it's once the machine is operating, then because there's it's like a house that's like a hoarder was in it and it was just a disaster. And we have to it takes a lot of effort to get to the point where everything's nice. Then once it's nice, it's only a little bit of cleaning every week, right? That's how it is.
When you first taught me this stuff, we were in the process of building a house. And so when you talk, if you can show that 6-phase diagram again, it connected for me in a way it never had before when the plumbing is the foundation. Like when you watch houses being built, they take
Yeah.
a long time to dig the hole, to put in the plumbing and the electricity before they ever start going upwards, right?
Yeah.
But what we want to do with our social media and our websites is, hey, it's so easy with Tithely. We can have a website in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, we can have a Facebook page in 5 minutes because someone in the church knows how to do it. And I'm going to guess that if you just show that diagram real quick,
Yeah.
I have a hypothesis and I want to see if it's true. Is the place that most people go, that fourth column, like they focus on, let's see, I need to show it again.
Yeah.
They focus on posting and they
Yeah.
haven't spent the time doing the other 5 parts of this process. Is that where you see most mistakes, or where would you say most mistakes are made?
So I agree. If we use the house analogy, then people are worried about, the furniture in a particular room or the paint job or the color of the couch. I mean, that's great. But if you're building a house, you got to start with the foundation, right? And in digital marketing, the foundation, digital plumbing is connecting all these things together. So you have to map out, here's our website, here's our socials, here's our library of all of our past sermons, here's bios on our key staff members. Like there's all this information about the church and about how it's connected in the community. And then the trackers associated with it, like Google Analytics pixels and the tag manager and the Facebook pixel and conversion tracking and newsletter email sign up and how many people filled out the card saying this is their first visit. Like this is all the data collection across all the different properties that embody the church, right? All the places that are the foundation of the church and all the tracking of that is digital plumbing. So if you're blind and you don't have any tracking, you have no idea how your marketing's performing for you, right? You would think, like Phil, you and I have been to these conferences and whatnot, and some of these big companies, they think they're tracking. They don't. They just don't. They're not. Even Facebook employees didn't know that when you run Facebook lead ads, like Brady Sticker, who's probably the best for churches, he runs Church Candy, right? He runs Facebook and Instagram ads to drive new visitors in. He's got a whole visitor flow welcome sequence, which is super powerful. So when you run lead ads like that, if you don't pass the conversion data back to Facebook, they don't know about it. It's
Mm,
Facebook's own tool. It's their own ad system. It's their own lead forms. They don't know about it. You have to actually pass that data back to Facebook. Isn't that crazy? Right? So digital plumbing is that first step. Without the data, then you have no idea what's working or not, right? Because you're going to find some sermons just do better than others. You might think some are better than, you might prefer one sermon over another, but you need to let the data tell you what's bringing in visitors, what's bringing in donations, what's bringing people in, what are people talking about. And your opinion and my opinion is wrong when we look at the data. The data always tells us what's going on, right? So
absolutely.
that so producing your production, what you talk about should be guided by your metrics. I know churches aren't like financially run business, commercial, profitable institutions, but you know, you've got to see how much money's coming in, and you got to see what content's performing, right? Then of whatever's resonating, then you can process it so that you're creating content independent of channels. So when you have a sermon, that sermon's not for YouTube or Vimeo or Twitter or whatever. The sermon is the sermon. The sermon can be repurposed, meaning modified and edited to live in multiple places. Yeah, the sermon could be on TikTok. The sermon could be on, YouTube, or, Instagram Reels, whatever it is, right? YouTube Shorts, right? So you can repurpose, you can chop it up so that sermon or that podcast or whatever could live in many different ways. And then you can promote it. So when you put it on the website, when you share it on social, when you run ads, that's all promotion. But you see how it's a separate layer of promotion versus posting versus the actual content itself, right? They're independent of each other.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to talk to some of you who are going to be at the conference if other churches have this sense of these things sound so unspiritual. It doesn't seem like the best use of our time. But I know, Dennis, that I've created hundreds of thousands of words of content, just faith-based content, not even the stuff that I've done in the social media and the event space. And most of it, I have no idea how it has performed. Has it actually connected with people? And we've got tools available to us to know, hey, did this article or this sermon or this video actually perform in a way that it's helping people? And
Yeah.
we're in the business of wanting to serve people and answer the questions that they're asking. And so it seems to make sense that we ought to do it in a way that helps us to know, is it getting the results we thought it would? Are we
Yeah.
reaching the people that we want to reach? We've got all the tools available to us. It
Yeah.
seems like we should use them.
And why not? Let us reason together. So you can look at any sermons and see which ones are doing the best. And then even particular passages, particular stories that are working well, that are somewhere in the middle of the sermon, you can pull those out. And then that becomes the hook. That becomes like a movie trailer, if you will, to then get people to watch the whole sermon on YouTube or whatnot, right? Instead of just, this was January 19th. Like, okay, why am I interested in that? Right. And so
Yeah.
we want to meet people where they are, right? And I'm not a pastor, so I'm not going to preach like Jesus was here for the sick people, but this is digital discipleship, right? We are digital missionaries, right? Or deputize some of these folks and just go out and put it out there, right? So let me show you another thing too. This is a little bit more advanced. So if the head pastor has got another, or on their phone where they're taking pictures, or maybe there's a church phone that you sort of hand around that people are, capturing it for social media and whatnot. All this stuff is like, this is what's occurring on my phone, right? Automatically being uploaded to Apple and Google, right? Where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm with, right? There's Rachel Miller, right? So all of it's being categorized. So if I do a search for Phil Mershon, for better or worse, the AI knows that this is Phil Mershon. and some other people, and we're having food somewhere, right? And there's a restroom thing in the back, and let's see information. Let's click on the info. And this was May 10th, 2021 on an iPhone in Las Vegas. And Mark Wagner was here too, right? Isn't that
Mhm.
awesome?
I remember that meal, a Vietnamese place, I believe.
Yeah, and here there's coconuts here, right? So I could look at all the other places where we're eating coconuts, or there's coconuts in the background. And so the AI is Google's AI is already, you see, it's pulling a coconut water. Here's like I'm eating a coconut somewhere, right? There's information here, right? Oh, I'm in Tijuana having a coconut, right? So the AI is capturing and categorizing all your information for you. So maybe you have a sermon, or maybe, somehow you reference the Dome of the Rock, or what's the Golgotha. I don't know, whatever it is. There's something
Sea of
you're talking
Galilee
about.
or something. Yeah.
Sea of Galilee, sure, right? Or Dead Sea, right? And the AI is looking across all these different things, right? So I was at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre a few weeks ago, and it knows, right? Because the photos and videos captured on an iPhone or Google phone or whatever, like this, I got to spend the whole night there because there's no one there because the Gaza thing. This is the guy who has the key to the church. Did you know the Muslims have all the keys to the churches in Jerusalem?
I did not
Because
know
they were
that.
fighting, all the Christians were fighting, so they needed a third party, the Muslims. It's like the Swiss, basically, right? And here it is, at Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and this is the key that opens this church, the historic place where Jesus was buried and rose from the last 5 steps of the Via Dolorosa. And I took a picture with the key, the actual key they stick in the door and unlocks this gigantic door that's super heavy, right? So if you're capturing these moments on your phone, on other people's phone, think about all the different things that you could do with that, right? This is the tomb, right? And
Give
the
me an
AI
example of
recognizes.
what you would do content-wise if you were a church and you had these videos or these pictures in there. What would
So
that process look like?
on the first level, the most obvious thing is, so we have a Holy Land visit, right? Hey, everybody, we're going to Jerusalem and doing this and that. And, here's pictures of us as this is where Jesus, talked to the whore at the well. And, but you could also be telling stories. So Jesus said, I'm going to come again, and I'm going to come back in the same way that and from the Mount of Olives, right?
Mhm.
And I've been to the Mount of, I've been there. These are my photos and videos. This is not from Wikipedia. I'm showing the real thing. This is who I am. This is a steep hill, right? This is surprisingly steep. I don't know if you've walked up the thing. I was out of breath at the top of it, right?
Yeah.
And there's the Garden of Gethsemane,
Gethsemane.
and
Mhm.
what an incredible place. These olive trees are thousands of years old, right? Incredible. So maybe we're talking about, when Jesus sweat blood because he got betrayed, and what is it? Jesus cut the guard's ear off. Like, all these scenes in the Bible. You could use real pictures from your parishioners, from your pastor, and if you sprinkle these in, look, you don't even have to be as sophisticated as I'm talking about here, because most folks, they don't even have, like, they don't even describe what the topic is. They don't even repurpose sermons, which should be videos, into articles. Imagine if you started putting in real things like this, that you actually were there, or other friends of yours were actually there, right?
What is that data that you're showing us that's behind the picture telling Google?
This is critical. So this is metadata. So this is a view to the other side. I don't know. Did you know that the U.S. Army forbids soldiers from posting photos and videos or whatever on social media? You know why?
Because it's giving that information away. It's telling
Because this
people where
other
I am.
data is also being included automatically. Like, machines can read this. It's called metadata. It's like data about data. Machines can read this information. So do you think, Phil,
Mm.
that when you post photos and videos and whatnot, that Google can tell whether it's real or not, or whether it's from you?
Now I know that it can.
Okay, so now we're on someone's website, right? This is a Tithely website. You can tell. You go to the bottom, it says powered by Tithely, right? That's how to tell. So here there's a picture of a family, right? So most people, they just put up some generic stock art thing of a family, right? Now we're going to reverse image search, which is nothing more than just saying, let's look at this image, and we're going to see this exact image is not anywhere else. So this is actually their, no, oops, no, this is a stock art image. Oops, I thought it was unique. But why do you think, Phil, it's important to show like actual images from your church, from your people, instead of this like happy family that's walking? You see how this thing is used in many places. This exact
Yeah,
picture.
if you went over to the Redeemer site, almost every one of those pictures are people in our church, and I'll bet you that the data behind it is telling Google these pictures are actually in Wichita, Kansas, because they were taken in Wichita, Kansas by
Yeah,
different people in the church.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
This
like
looks like this is your pastor,
those
right?
are the
So this.
pastors right there.
So if
Yep,
we search, this is probably going to be a unique image.
yep.
Yeah, and it's coming up from with Redeemer. Okay. Yeah. So find image source, and this is it. This is the source. So why is it important to actually show that, authentically be who you are? Like, why couldn't you just use a picture of like a happy family?
I think from a surface level, it probably doesn't matter, but from a data perspective of being found, you want to show things that are yours. It's
Yeah.
authentic. It's going to increase your authority, I would imagine.
I've seen a lot of churches where they have the picture of like the happy black family or whatever, and that same woman is used in Bank of America and Verizon, and like, no, don't do that, right?
Mm, mm.
Because you're trying to show Google who you are. You're trying to establish the geo grid that we talked about earlier. You're trying to establish that you are a real church and that you are in Wichita, Kansas. So anything to show that you're in Wichita, like real pictures, videos, photos, whatever, connections with other businesses, which is that whole guest blogging thing, which only takes a minute because the AI can write the thing for you, right? Literally, like a 1-minute interview with your favorite organizations and businesses, your favorite people in town. Just, hey guys, I'm with Phil Mershon, who runs this coffee shop. Hey Phil, tell us about, 1 minute, right? Use the AI to repurpose it, put it to the website, link these things together. That will drive SEO. It'll be huge for your church Redeemer, right? But for everyone here, it's this simple. This is why I believe young adults can do this thing. We've done this in a lot of other industries. We've not really, we've done a little bit here and there with some churches, but mostly big businesses that paid us a lot of money. And I want to see churches take advantage of these fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
And I'll even help. I'll donate my time. I just want to see it happen.
Dennis, your heart is enormous. Folks who've been watching all the way here till the end, download this. We did include the link over on the Facebook group. We'll get that over into the YouTube video if you watch this there. Um, if you're not already signed up for the Modern Church Leader Conference, they've got a special deal going on right now. Name your own price. That's NYOP. Literally go to their website and it allows you to say, hey, this is what I can afford. And I don't think they care how many people you bring. I don't know. I've not tested this yet, but they've told me they will honor your offer because they want to see you there. And they want to see churches there that want to learn things like what Dennis has been talking about. There's 45 different sessions happening over the 3 days of the event. It's going to be invaluable. I highly recommend that you bring members of your team. Dennis keeps talking about a young person. It doesn't have to be a young person that does these SEO things, but they just tend to have a little bit more propensity for this kind of stuff. But if they're technically savvy, they could be 75 years old. If they're technically savvy and love this kind of stuff, doesn't matter their age, matters their heart and desire to serve and figure this stuff out. So encourage you guys to come to the conference. Dennis, give you the closing word. What would you love to share as we bring this to a close?
I think we are in the time of great harvest, and this is where we need to get the word out there. And this whole digital discipleship ministry, like most churches are not doing a good job in getting out there on digital, or because social media is evil or whatnot. But you take the power of the word of these sermons and you get young, old, whoever it is, other volunteers who are willing to follow these processes, and we can reach people everywhere. That's what I want to see. And anything I can do to help, if you want me or other members of our team, we're here to donate our time to help you run these reports, answer quick little questions, because I personally believe that, no one knows the day or the hour, but I think we don't have a lot of time. And
Mm,
now is a great time to be reaching people. And I want to see you guys in Dallas too, if you can make it to MCL.
absolutely. Well, there's an urgency, and it's not good stewardship, pastors and leaders out there, when we create all this amazing content and then we don't make it available to be used in a way that serves the kingdom purposes God has called us to. So I think what Dennis is offering here is an amazing offer. Take him up on it, and we hope to see you guys in Dallas and on the Tithely page. With that, we'll be back next week, similar time, on talking all about AI. We started hinting at AI. Next week is all about AI and its role in the church. Thanks again, Dennis.
Thank you, Phil.